Welcome back to Stamp Vault. I am glad you are here. Picture this, it is October 1923 in Berlin. You want to send a letter to your cousin in Munich. You walk to the post office and you need to bring, no exaggeration, billions of marks just to cover the postage. The clerk behind the counter is slapping brand new overprinted values onto old stamps with rubber stamps and ink pads because the official printed versions haven't caught up to today's rates yet. And by the time you get home, the rates have changed again. This is the story of how one of history's worst economic disasters became one of Philately's most fascinating collecting fields. Let's start with the backstory, because you can't understand these stamps without understanding what was happening in Germany after World War I. Germany emerged from the war in 1918 utterly broken. Not just militarily, economically, politically, and spiritually. The Treaty of Versailles in 1919 laid war guilt squarely on Germany's shoulders and demanded massive reparations payments to the Allied powers. The German economy was already on shaky ground. The government's answer to paying its bills was simple and catastrophic: print more money. In January 1921, $1 was worth about 75 German marks. That sounds bad. It got incomprehensibly worse. By November 1923, $1 was worth 4.2 trillion marks. Workers were collecting their wages in laundry baskets. Shopkeepers updated their prices hourly. People burned banknotes for heat because the paper was worth more as fuel than as currency. The German word for it is inflation, but what happened in 1923 was something far beyond that. Economists call it hyperinflation. Historians call it a societal collapse. Philatelists call it the most extraordinary thing to ever happen to a postal system. Here's the problem the Reich Post, the German Imperial Post, faced. Postage rates were climbing so fast that by the time a new stamp design could be commissioned, printed, perforated, gummed, and distributed, the denomination on it was already a relic. A first-class domestic letter cost 20 Pfennig before the crisis. By early 1923, it cost hundreds of thousands of marks. By October 1923, that same letter cost 100 billion marks. You simply cannot design and print new stamps fast enough to keep up with that. So what did they do? They improvised. The Reichspost took existing stamp stock, everything from pre-war definitive issues to wartime charity stamps, and overprinted new values directly on top of them. Some of these overprints were applied centrally in Berlin. Many others were authorized at the regional and local level, meaning individual post offices across Germany were essentially making their own stamps with whatever type, ink, and machinery they had on hand. What this produced from a philatelic standpoint is breathtaking in its chaos. Think about what overprinting means at that scale and that speed. You get misaligned surcharges, the new value printed crooked or half off the stamp. You get inverted overprints, the new value printed upside down relative to the original design. You get double overprints where a stamp was run through the press twice. You get color varieties because different batches use different inks. You get font differences because different post offices use different typefaces. You even get spelling errors. And all of this is catalogued. All of it is collected. The values themselves tell the story of the collapse in real time. Early overprints in 1921 added surcharges of a few thousand marks, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. By the summer of 1923, stamps were being issued in millions of marks. By autumn, billions. And I want you to really sit with this, by November 1923, there were stamps with a face value of 50 trillion marks. 50 trillion. On a piece of paper the size of your thumbnail. For collectors today, this era is genuinely thrilling to dig into. The Michel catalogue, which is the Bible for German philately, lists hundreds of distinct varieties just from this period. There are the centrally issued overprints, which are more common. And then there are the Lokalausgaben, the local issue overprints from individual cities and towns. Places like Zwickau, Meerane, Arnsberg and others produced overprints in very small quantities. sometimes for just a matter of days before new rates made them obsolete. Those local issues are the real treasure hunt. Some are genuinely rare, and finding them in good condition, properly centered, clean gum, no faults, is the kind of score that makes a lifetime collection. Here's another layer that makes this era interesting from a survivability standpoint. At the time, these stamps had essentially zero intrinsic value to ordinary Germans. By the time a sheet of stamps reached a collector or dealer, it might already be worth less than the paper it was printed on. Many people used excess stamps as scrapbook material, wallpaper, or simply threw them away. As a result, mint condition examples of the highest denominations, the billion and trillion mark stamps, are actually harder to find unused than used, which is the reverse of the typical collector dynamic. The stamps that got mailed, cancelled, and preserved in correspondence survived in greater numbers than the ones sitting in a drawer. And then, almost overnight, it ended. On November 15, 1923, the German government introduced a new currency, the Rentenmark. The exchange rate was staggering in its own right, 1 new Rentenmark for 1 trillion old marks. But it worked. The hyperinflation stopped. The economy stabilized. New stamps were issued with sensible denominations. The post offices went back to printing normal stamps, and the entire frantic, breathless 2-year period of overprinting became history. What those years left behind is one of the most documented economic catastrophes in philatelic form. Every rate change, every emergency overprint, every local improvisation is sitting there in the catalogue waiting to be collected. These aren't just stamps. They're a ledger of a society in freefall. Each overprint is a data point on a graph going straight up and off the page. If you're building a German collection, this era deserves a dedicated page, or honestly, an album of its own. Start with the Major Scott or Michel listed overprint series, then go hunting for the local issues. The variety is staggering, the historical context is unmatched, and the stories these little pieces of paper can tell are unlike anything else in the philatelic world. So the next time someone tells you that stamps are just old pieces of paper, you can tell them about 1923 Germany, where those pieces of paper were the last honest record of a civilization printing its way into oblivion. The Reich Post kept the mail running through one of the strangest economic nightmares in modern history, and in doing so left us one of the most remarkable paper trails a collector could ever follow. That's the story of the Weimar hyperinflation postal issues, absolutely one of the great chapters in philatelic history, and one that proves once again that the best stamps aren't just postage, they're primary sources. If you found this video useful, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more collectors find Stamp Vault. And if you want to go deeper on Weimar-era German philately, drop your questions in the comments below. I read every single one. Subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss what's coming up. We've got more deep dives into the history hiding inside the world's most fascinating stamp issues. Until next time, keep hunting, keep cataloging, and keep the hobby alive. See you at the vault.